Hello, someone came. Tanveer. And right. Yes. Good morning. A natural malefic. Pap Kartari Yoga is only for natural malefic. Okay, not functional malefic. Oh, I think I am early today, waiting for people to join. What is the difference between Marka planets and functional malefic planets? Marka planet is your second and seventh lord. Okay, lords of second house and seventh house. They are Marka planets. We can also say planets which are sitting in second and seventh are also Marka. Okay, so suppose someone is Libra ascendant person, so Mars becomes Marka because it rules the second and seventh house. Also, the planets which sit in second and seventh house, they are also going to activate second and seventh house. So they can also be considered as Marka, the killer. Okay. Then a functional malefic is a planet which rules your sixth house, eighth house, or 12th house with its Mool Trikona sign. Okay, so if a planet's Mool Trikona sign falls into sixth house, eighth house, or 12th house, then that planet becomes functional malefic for that particular ascendant. Like for a Scorpio ascendant like me, sixth house is ruled by Mars through its sign Aries. Aries is Mars Mool Trikon sign. So Mars is a functional malefic for me. Venus rules my 12th house with Libra sign. Libra is Mool Trikon sign of Venus. So Venus is also a functional malefic for me. Okay. So likewise, we need to see which planets rule which houses, which of the Dushtana houses through its Mool Trikon sign to know that which planet is functional malefic for someone. Also, like I think Gemini ascendant is the only ascendant for which there is no functional malefic. Okay, because like sixth house Scorpio, eighth house Capricorn, and 12th house Taurus. Okay, they are not multi-tricon sign of any planets. They are not function. Sorry, Gemini ascendant people don't have any functional malefic in their chart. Okay, so yes. Thank you. We know that you only consider D1 chart. Does Bhavchalit chart also play any role? It is not that I only consider D1 chart. I prefer considering D1 chart. It is my preferential chart. Okay. So if I am given birth details of any person, I will first look and exhaust D1 chart completely. Then only I will go towards other divisional charts uh, to find uh, if whatever I seen in D1 chart is relevant or not. Okay, so I never said that other charts are not important. Other charts are also important. They are important to confirm things. Okay, whatever we see in D1 chart, that can be confirmed through your divisional charts. Bhav Chalit chart also play any role. It has a role. Okay, Bhav Chalit chart's basic concept came from the planets at the edge of any sign. If a planet is at 29 degree of a Cancer sign, okay, so the basic concept of Bhavchali chart came that okay, you cannot be so sure that planet is right at 29 degree. It can be at 30 degree also. Okay, so how you will be so sure? So on that pretext, the concept of Bhavchali chart came. Again, I will say Bhavchali chart also depends on your D1 chart. D1 chart remains the mother of all charts. You have to first look at D1 chart, then only you can go into other charts. Okay, go into other charts. Find this. And other things also, understand other things also, but first exhaust your D1. If you don't have a D1 chart, you cannot even make your D9 D10 other divisional charts, and you cannot make your Bhavchali chart also. Okay, so this is what I mean by preferring D1 chart. Bhavchali chart has a role, but its role also starts after we exhaust D1 chart. How are you? I am fine, madam. How are you? Can you tell me about a stellium second house with Saturn, Mercury, Neptune, and Uranus, plus retro Jupiter in Cancer and Moon in Cancer in eighth house? Wherever we have stellium of planets, like you have Saturn, Mercury, Neptune, Uranus. Although Neptune and Uranus are not considered in Vedic side of astrology, but in case we want to consider that. Okay. First of all, wherever Saturn sits, it kinds of rules that house. Okay, wherever Saturn is impacting your chart, it is kind of ruling that house or that sign. So Saturn sitting in second house with Mercury, Neptune and Uranus, showing that all the good results of the second house related matters will be delayed in your life. You will realize those results after after certain delay, hard work and perseverance. You have to put best effort to get the best result out of your second house. It also shows in your early childhood, your family environment could be very very difficult, very challenging type of. Okay, so that is a stressful family environment. Okay, that is also one of the result. Neptune and Uranus, Neptune Uranus actually, first Uranus, the creativity aspect. Uranus is creative. Okay, the best way to understand Uranus, Neptune and Pluto, to understand them through the trinity of Hindu mythology, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, or the elements, three elements, Sattva, Raj, Tam. Okay, Uranus is Rajas energy, the creative energy. Okay, and this, what do you say? Um uh, Pluto is tamas energy, the destructive energy, and then the Neptune in between is sustaining energy, the Rajas energy, Sattva energy. So we can understand these three planets through this trinity. Okay, wherever Uranus is placed, we need to be very creative in that area of life. Like it is in the second house of wealth, you need to find out very creative ways to sustain your wealth. Neptune is about sustenance. So you need to be find a kind of peace in matters of your wealth and family. Okay, peace means let's take the example of wealth. You should not be like running around wealth. You should not be greedy about wealth. You should understand that okay, whatever is in my destiny, I will have it, and whatever is not in my destiny, I will not have it. Okay, this is the stage where you need to reach through Neptune in your second house. Then Mercury, again it is with Saturn, so you need to like put your best effort for improving your communication skills and other creative ability. Okay, so this is how this stellium is going to work. It also depends on the sign it is placed in. Okay, that is an important thing. Then retro Jupiter in Cancer, it is excellent. Okay, after certain age, if especially if you are under Jupiter dasha, it can give you best result. I'm the living example of retro Jupiter in Cancer and running Jupiter dasha. Okay, so that is the thing. Moon in Cancer in 8th house, that means this stellium is in Capricorn, right? So this is a very good position. Jupiter Moon in 8th house for the occult side of life, for the unknown hidden matters. You can be very good counselor in that area, but all that ability will be means exhibited after putting the best effort over the longest period of time. Like Saturn aspecting the Jupiter Moon, so you have to put your best effort over the longest period of time, and then you can get that result of Jupiter Moon in Cancer. Okay, so both these conjunctions are very strong, but just Saturn factor is there, so you have to put the best effort. Ketu in the sixth house, good in Capricorn for Leo ascendant. Again, it is good for some purposes, it is not so good for some purposes. Okay, every planet has something good, something bad attached with it. We cannot make a generic rule that this planet is good, this planet is bad. Ketu in Capricorn can show someone who doesn't want to gain any authority over anyone. They are not bossy type of people, and they don't want anyone to be bossy around them. That is the first thing. uh, Second thing, they can be all about working. Okay, they are not much interested in how you are how much they are getting benefited of it. Ketu is headless. Okay, and sixth house is your daily work life. Capricorn is the natural 10th house. So it shows that person is like headless when it comes to work. It is just he is working. He has no inclination to even see if he is getting any return of that work or not. Okay, so that is the benefit also, because it makes someone very hardworking, but it is loss also, because other people can exploit you, because you are putting your best effort, and other people are gaining out of it. So this is what Ketu in the sixth house can do. It can also give some rare or unusual diseases which are very difficult to diagnose. But at the same time, Ketu also represents alternate medication. Alternate medication can be helpful, especially homeopathy. Today your look is like a sannyasi. Have you done on Revati? I haven't done anything, madam. Okay. So what is in the look? Anyone can make it, right? Uh, Sun in third house with Mercury within 5 degree for Libra ascendant. What can I expect in Sun Mahadasha? You can expect your gains, 11th house gains coming from your business, third house. Okay, Sun is in third house. Sun is career, authority, recognition. This person's authority and recognition is coming through self efforts, business, when he utilizes his willpower and courage. And in Sagittarius related matters like uh, sharing knowledge and all that, in those matters they are going to get the authority and recognition. But if you are not doing anything like that, then don't expect the best gains coming to you, then don't expect best authority and recognition coming to you. It can only come when you are putting your best effort. Okay, in the business setup environment. What if Rahu Mahadasha comes at an early age in 13 years? I started in 13 years. You are talking about my chart, Rahu Dasha. Okay. Is it always destructive or depends on the chart, as it is sixth house with Buddha in Scorpio sign? Uh, Again, it can be good for some reasons, it can be bad for some reasons. For health issues and all, it can bring some health issues. Person can have especially allergy or skin related issues can be very prominent here, with Rahu Mercury together in sixth house in Scorpio. At the same time, this planetary position, Rahu Mercury in Scorpio. Okay. So, as I was saying, that at the same time, Rahu Mercury in Scorpio can make someone highly research oriented. Okay, they can be like obsessed about researching things. So, in research oriented fields, it can be a very good planetary position. Okay, so this is where it can be utilized. Thank you. You're welcome. Bhakti. Thank you. Ketu in second for Leo. Okay. Ketu in second house, separation from family. Ketu is separation, second house is family, separation from family. Someone who is like not feeling connected with his family or family environment, he feels that okay, they are not understanding my point of view, I am not understanding their point of view. Okay, that is one reason. Ketu in second house for Leo ascendant means it is in Virgo sign. It can make someone very analytical. Okay, mostly they are seen as editors. Okay, someone who is very good at editing related work. Okay, they are very good at analyzing things. At the same time, any malefic planet in second house or 11th house makes it difficult for person to safeguard his money. So that is where they need to work. They should be working more. They should be like finding more ways to save their money. That's where Ketu in the second house, it can give money. It is not that it cannot give money, but person will not be able to save it. So he needs to work on his savings. Okay. uh, I also have Venus in Aquarius in the third house with Rahu. Sun in Sagittarius, Mars in Scorpio in the first house. Okay. And 12th house Pluto in Scorpio. Okay, yeah, I think you are referring to a Western astrology chart. Okay, anyways, Venus in Aquarius in third house with Rahu. Rahu gravitates us towards something. It is in the third house. It should gravitate you towards your own business. Okay, it can be business related with your creative pursuits. It can be business related with finance and all. That depends upon the whole chart. What should be the exact business. Okay, Sun in Sagittarius and Mars in Scorpio in the first house. Sun in Sagittarius, someone who is very knowledgeable. Okay, someone who gains knowledge through gains authority and recognition through his knowledge. Okay, Mars in Scorpio can make you very strong with willpower, very courageous. Okay, that is because Scorpio is the sign of instabilities, ups and downs. So this person goes through lots of ups and downs, but as Mars is sitting there, it will give you strong willpower and courage to go through all those ups and downs. 12th house Pluto in Scorpio. 12th house is your spiritual beliefs. Pluto is major transformation. It shows that your spiritual beliefs can go through major changes. Sometimes you are following this person, sometimes you are following that person. Sometimes you feel that this person's logic is correct, and sometimes you feel that that person's logic is correct. So that destruction and recreation will be the theme around 12th house related matters. My Jupiter is in third house in Capricorn and retro Mars in 10th house. Third house in Capricorn, retro Mars in 10th. I am in Jupiter Mahadasha. Jupiter Dasha started. Can I start business? You have to start business. Jupiter in third house. Okay, you have no other option but to start business if you want to settle somewhere in your career or have a good money. As I always say, a dasha can give you the best result only when you are doing something related with that planet and something related with that planetary position. Jupiter is all about knowledge sharing. So Jupiter dasha can give you the best results only when you are in knowledge sharing related work. Then second thing is it is in the third house. So again, the best results in this dasha will only come when you explore your third house related things: business, communication, willpower, courage, self efforts. When you put your effort, time and energy in third house related things and in Jupiter related work, then only you will get the best result. Have you done video on Revati Uttar Bhadra? I have seen. Yeah, Revati Nakshatra video is done. You can check on YouTube, it is there. Among the Nakshatra playlist, I think you should get it. Thank you. Uh, what is the effect of directional strength of a planet if placed in an enemy sign? Okay, so best example is that Jupiter in first house Gemini. Okay, Jupiter gets directional strength in the first house, but it is in Gemini, which is its enemy sign. So what happens here is that uh, when it comes to knowledge oriented matters, okay, knowledge or anything else of non living nature represented by Jupiter, okay, knowledge, education, counseling and all, when we are dealing with these matters, this Jupiter can give you a very good result, because Jupiter is in first house. It can give you lots of information, lots of knowledge, and you can guide people, you can counsel people and all, because Jupiter is getting the directional strength in the first house. But it is in enemy sign, so although it is giving you good results, you are still feeling a frustration. Understand enemy sign as if you are sitting with your enemy. If my enemy is sitting here, okay, how comfortable I will be feeling, okay. So that is the difficulty when a planet is in enemy sign. Always try to understand a planet as a person. Enemy sign is like you are sitting with your enemy. Enemy sign is like your enemy has invited you in his home. How comfortable you will be about going to his home, okay. Just like that, a planet in enemy sign is not very comfortable. It is not enjoying that environment. So although, because Jupiter is a benefic planet, it is getting directional strength, it is giving results, it is giving you benefits, but the person is not feeling fulfilled out of those benefits. He will still feel the frustrated that I didn't get enough result, okay. Venus in Kritika 6th house, okay, Aries, Scorpio ascendant, and Bhav Chalit 7th house, Mars in 10th house, Sun in 8th house. Does Venus Antardasha give the result of 10th house and 10th house Lord Sun? Mars in 10th house. Why Venus Dasha will give the result of 10th house or 10th house Lord Sun? Okay, fine. It is Scorpio ascendant, Sun is in the 8th house, so it should be in Gemini, right? Anyways, I will just tell how you can see the Dasha results. Venus Dasha is on, so Venus is your whichever, first of all, Karaka of Venus, whatever Venus represents on itself, like luxury, conveniency, wealth, and all, relationship, you will get those results. Then look at the houses Venus rules in your chart. Then look at the house where Venus sits in your chart. You will get results of these houses. And then look at the dignity. You will get result as per the dignity. If Venus is in good dignity, you will feel happy about the results. If Venus is not in good dignity, you will feel frustrated about the results. If Venus is with Saturn and all, you have to put an extra effort to get those results, okay. Then Venus aspects, and then look at the nakshatras. Venus rules Bharni, Purva Falguni and Purva Shada. If any planet is there in these three nakshatra, that planet also will be active and it will give result. I have Capricorn moon in the second house. Capricorn does not let me earn money easily, but moon here makes me depressed. To become happy, I spend. Any practical suggestion? Meditation. Okay, the most practical suggestion is meditation. Anything to do with moon, if moon is uh, afflicted anyhow, just meditate regularly. Okay. There is a saying in spiritual world that meditate half an hour every day, and if you are very busy, then meditate at least 1 hour every day. Okay, so meditate regularly, then only you can settle down this moon. I am Taurus ascendant, Jupiter in Lagna. Now Mercury Jupiter Dasha. What can I expect, sir? Uh, Mercury in fourth house. Okay. Anyways, Mercury Dasha is going on for a long time. I will just tell you what you can expect in this Jupiter Antardasha. Jupiter rules your 8th and 11th, and Jupiter sits in Taurus in first house. Wealth wise, it should be fine. Financially, it should be a good period, but it should be a good period only when you are in business setup, because Jupiter rules 8th house of business benefits. So your business benefits should be good. Okay, if you are in business setup work, if you are in any other job setup environment, then you will get your results accordingly. I am not saying you will not get any result. It will be like as per the average of job setup environment, you will get that result, but the best result only in business. Then take care of your it can cause obesity. Jupiter Dasha can bring obesity to the person, so just be careful about that. Be careful while you are traveling and driving, because it is still activating your 8th house of accidents and sudden events. It can also bring some benefits from inheritance, because 8th house is also the house of inheritance. So best results of this dasha can be when you are working for yourself and in knowledge sharing business, that is Jupiter. Okay, then only you can expect the best results of this dasha. Otherwise the average results will be there. Rahu in Scorpio in first house, Venus in Aries, both of his lord in 10th house. Does it give mass fame? Uh, okay, Rahu in first house can bring fame, especially like if person is also in Rahu Dasha. Venus is also one of the karakas of fame, so it can bring fame. Like Mars is sitting in Leo sign in 10th house. But now, what is fame? What do we understand by fame? Fame is like when people know you. How people can know you? When people are you are interacting with people, you are connected with people. So a fame can only come when you are working for yourself. It can never come when you are in job setup. At most, if you are in job setup, you can at most you can be famous among your team members, a team of 50 or 100 members in your office setup. At your floor you can be very famous, but outside that floor nobody knows you. So if you want like worldly fame, okay, you want the like you ask mass fame. Mass fame is only possible when you are dealing with people in your own work setup, through your own business. Then only you can expect a mass fame. Okay, if you are not doing anything related with that, then don't expect it. Libra ascendant, Sun Saturn debilitated, Mars debilitated, married life. Marriage and astrology has nothing to do with each other. Okay, married life is messed up for everyone. Okay, it is not not for this person only. It is troublesome for everyone. Hi Anshul, how are you? Long time no see, no coffee, no tea. Gemini rising right now going through Jupiter Mahadasha, great. And Moon Antardasha, Saturn in 7th house, Jupiter in 12th, Mars in 10th, Lagna Lord in 4th, Venus Ketu in 3rd. Okay. Uh, Rahu uh, Rahu ninth house, so married life sudden problem. When will things will good? Again, as I said, relationship problems are everywhere. Okay, we we cannot even say that we have a relationship problem in every relationship. I cannot say that I never had any conflict with my parents, or I never had any conflict with my siblings, right? So we have problems in every relationship. First of all, we have to understand that. Then if we have problems in every relationship, then this relationship will also have its own problem, the boyfriend girlfriend or husband wife relationship. So every relationship, every chart has its difficulty in relationship. First of all, accept that. Okay. Now in this case, like first of all, it is Gemini ascendant people. For Gemini, like Gemini ascendant, the seventh house is ruled by Jupiter. First house is ruled by Mercury. So this person is ruled by Mercury. His partner, his or her partner, is ruled by Jupiter. Mercury and Jupiter are natural enemies. So that itself creates difficulty in relationship. Okay, a kind of frustration in relationship. Then Jupiter in 12th 12th house of losses. So this person feels that relationship is a matter of loss for him or her. Then if you see the transits, okay, all the transits are going through your 8th house, this person's 8th house. So again, it is a very difficult transit for someone of a Gemini ascendant, because lots of planets are going through 8th house. It is a time of major transformation for them. Okay, so this is the thing. Then this Lagna Lord in 4th house. Mercury is good. Venus Ketu conjunction. Okay, and this is also kind of troublesome for relationship, because Venus is relationship, Ketu is separation. So they feel separated from their partner. Okay, it is like a tug of war kind of situation. When they are in relationship, they want someone to be there as a partner. When they are when they are single, they want some relationship in life, and when they are in relationship, they feel that their single life was better. So this tug of war continues within them when Venus Ketu are together. At the same time, like this once this this major transit through 8th house is over. Okay, we can say about April time period. So from from May onwards, they can expect some relief from this heavy energy which is transiting through 8th house, the 8th house. Otherwise, it is a very difficult transit right now for a Gemini ascendant person. Also be careful against any sudden event or accident kind of thing. Okay, thank you, Pankaj. I am running Saturn Mahadasha Sagittarius ascendant. Okay, uh, Saturn conjunct Uranus in 12th house, fine. Then Rahu in Aries. Will my marriage be? Marriage has nothing to do with astrology, sir. My view have, please go through my articles on astrology and marriage. Okay. So my views on astrology and marriage are a little different. I feel marriage is more a social institution. It has nothing to do with astrology as such. So we cannot say about marriage. We can say about relationship. Okay, that's why like marriage consultations are gone. I'm not even giving them. Okay. Marriage consultancy is like marriage counseling. Nobody listens to astrologer. Maybe to a certain extent it is correct. Thank you. You're welcome. I already did a video on stellium in Capricorn. You can watch that video. Okay. So that video will give an idea upon my views on stellium, which is happening right now. Uh, Only difference is that moon will also be there in Capricorn, right? So moon is there. That means mind is also there. Okay. Once at the in those 2 days, I think 12th or 13th or 14th February, in those 2 3 days we will feel the most intensity of this transit. Okay, because all the planets are there in the Capricorn sign. Now moon is also transiting there, so your mind is also going there. That is when you will feel the biggest impact of this transit. Revati Atmakaraka. Only meditation, healing, astrology is successful. Revati also, these things are okay. Revati also represents, these things can be a part of profession, like meditation, healing, astrology, or any other occultic spiritual study. Revati also represents creativity. Revati also represents music. So person can be very interested in any creative side of life, music and all. And Revati literally means wealth. So financial nature of business can also be important, but it depends on what is that planet and all that. Okay. uh, Friends always backstab me uh, and get me in legal troubles. Ketu in 11th house, ascendant nakshatra lord. uh, this means planets want me to walk alone. Yes, we can say so. Okay. Then I have Ketu in my seventh house in Aries, Libra ascendant, and Ketu here make separation from my spouse. Is it permanent or in Ketu Dasha time only? I want to live a happy married life. Okay. First of all, get rid of this thinking that there is anything like happy married life. A married life can never be happy. Okay. Just get rid of this thinking. So then understand Ketu is separation. Okay, and seventh house is your relationship. So this whenever Ketu is in seventh house, either you get physically separated from your partner or you feel separation, just like I said in another questions answer, that person remains in this tug of war kind of situation, that they are thinking that whenever they are single they want relationship, and when they are in relationship they want their single life back. So this tug of war continues whenever Ketu is in seventh house, or seven with seventh lord, or with Venus and all. Okay. So first of all, it should be like either you will be physically separated from your partner, or you will feel a mental separation from your partner. You are staying with the person, you are staying in the same home, but you are not feeling connected with the person. So this tug of war continues with Ketu in the seventh house. But first of all, get rid of this thinking that there is anything like happy married life. Okay. Financial nature means Saturn Rahu in Revati. Financial nature means any financial nature of work, right? Related with money. Someone can be interested in stock market. Someone can be a wealth manager, a financial consultant. Okay. Saturn Rahu in Revati, this is difficult. This is more a placement of someone who is into this occult or spiritual side of life rather than anything else. Okay, Ketu in ascendant. I have sannyasi friend in Ketu ascendant. Great. Yeah, it can make someone spiritual. Ketu itself represents spirituality, ascendant represents our life path. So it can make someone spiritual in this life path. Okay. Okay. So what else? Any further question? About Venus, Shravana, and Mercury, Dhanishta in 12th house Aquarius. How does 12th house impact life? Okay. Uh, Now, this thing can work in two ways, first relationship if we see, and then in other matters. For creativity, it is an excellent position. Venus Mercury in 12th house. Venus is creativity, this Mercury is creative skills and all, and 12th house is imagination. This is excellent position. Only thing is that it is in Saturn ruled sign, so person will get the results after certain hard work, delay, and perseverance. Okay, that is the thing. So in creative matters, in finance related matters, person can be very good with financial and dealings also. But now when it comes to relationship matters, okay, uh, Venus in Shravana, uh, Venus cannot be in Shravana in Aquarius. It has to be in Capricorn, right? Venus in Shravana in Capricorn, it may be. So understand, Venus is Shukracharya, and Shravana's main story, mythological story, was where like Shukracharya was guru of this King Bali, who didn't listen to his advice when Vaman Avatar came up to ask for charity, As Venus advice was not listened by this king King Bali, the person it is like Venus doesn't feel good in this nakshatra, although it is in friendly sign in Capricorn, but it is not feeling good in this Shravana nakshatra portion. Okay, because the mythological story doesn't support Venus. So in relationship matters, again it will cause some frustration. Mercury in Dhanishta, again Dhanishta is the nakshatra of wealth and finance. It can give a good amount of wealth and good amount of financial success in business setup. Both these nakshatras are related with real estate. Okay, lands and palaces, buildings and all. Uh, so these nakshatras can be helpful in this finance, wealth or assets, any of these kind of work. Uh, and then but in relationship matters it is difficult position, I think you right. Okay, so in relationship matters both these planets are in difficult position, like Venus in Shravana in Capricorn and Mercury in Dhanishta in Aquarius, because Venus is not feeling too good in Shravana, and Dhanishta itself is the nakshatra of celibacy. So, in relationship matters, there are challenges, but when it comes to like financial or creative aspects of life, this can be a very good position. For Cancer ascendant, Saturn is in Capricorn in Shravana nakshatra, and Moon is in Leo in second house. Venus is in Taurus in 11th house in Rohini nakshatra. Your views on married life and spouse nature? Wrong person, sir. I'm not into marriage consultations. As I see astrology and marriage as an institution has nothing to do with each other. uh, Astrology is only limited up to relationship and alliances. Through astrology we can only understand when are you going to get into relationship or alliance, get some alliances, but after that it is all social circus. Your society overtakes it. After that it becomes important, what is the caste of the person, what is the religion of the person, what is the language of the person, what is the region of the person, what is how is the face of the person, how is the bank balance of the person. Thankfully all these things are not astrological. Okay, uh, I don't think there is any astrology book which says that if you get alliance of this XYZ caste person, you should say no to the person. I don't think there is any book like this. Okay, so that's why marriage as an institution has nothing to do with astrology. When we can only look at the relationship possibilities and then relationship challenges. Read my views on astrology and marriage. Those will be refreshing for you. Saturn in Vishakha Pada 4 in 12th house. Okay. Running under Saturn Dasha. Sagittarius ascendant. What this Mahadasha will bring to me. If you are traveling to foreign lands, be very careful because Saturn, in my experience, whenever I discussed these charts with people who have the similar position, they landed into some trouble in foreign lands. Okay, so just be very careful of not getting into any trouble in foreign lands. If you are traveling there, you have to put an extra effort to save your money. You have to make a lot of arrangements to save the money. Okay, otherwise just be careful against accidents, sudden events, and this thing mm, at the same time it can be good for your spiritual growth and occult mysticism. But I'm not good with money. Saturn is Vargottama also. Husband asked me to try stocks. I am scared. uh, Creative things I love: knitting, embroidery, and land. Okay, this statement of yours is enough indication that Saturn is working. You said scared. Okay, scared of Revati related works. Saturn is there in Revati, so you are feeling scared. Thank you, sir. Doubt clear. Sorry, I'm in Capricorn. Right. How will 2021 be for Pisces ascendant? For Pisces, this stellium is going through uh, uh, 11th house right now. So there can be like money related issues and all. Okay. So right now 11th house has all these planets going on, so there can be stress related with money. There can be like relocation possibilities till April. There can be job change possibilities also till April. After April, Jupiter will transit into 12th house. Then like 12th house is the end of the things. Whenever a major transit happens in 12th house, we finish things related with which are pending from a long time. So when Jupiter transits into your 12th house, you will close down many pending matters of your life. Okay, so that is where 12th house transit of Jupiter will be helpful. um, in money matters you may need to be careful, because Saturn will remain in your 11th house, and it will restrict your money, and Jupiter will go into 12th house of losses, so it can expand your losses or expenses. So in money matters you need to be very careful where to spend, where not to spend. Okay. Other things, for spiritual growth and all, and any time is favorable. So if you want to meditate you can, but major challenge will be the money factor during this year. Okay, so this is the thing. Interesting and unique view on marriage, yes, and that's why marriage consultations are not there. I have stopped giving marriage consultations because your societies come into way. Okay. Even if I give you marriage consultation, I tell you like timing of your relationship, that in this time period you can get into relationship, you will get into relationship, you will get some alliances, but then these criterias will come up, your social criterias, and they will spoil the show. Okay, so you may meet a person, but then all these things come up, that okay, then this person is not looking that great, or this person is not having that much of bank balance. All these are social things. Okay, this person doesn't have a car, this person doesn't have a house. Astrologically, there is nothing like that. No astrology book says that okay, you should have a car before you get married, right? If we assume the degree and nakshatra is same for Jupiter in Cancer, then which position is more powerful? For Cancer ascendant, it is in first house, Scorpio. Okay, if we assume the degree and nakshatra is same for Jupiter in Cancer, then which position is more powerful? For Cancer ascendant, it's in first house. Scorpio ascendant, it is, I would say first house, because first house is your overall life. Okay, so when this person goes through first house dasha, okay, Jupiter gets activated and he enters into first house dasha, the overall life will see a rise in every aspect of life. This person will see a rise. Okay, the this ninth house, I have ninth house Cancer Jupiter, and I am going through Jupiter dasha, so I am seeing rise mostly on like ninth house related things. I am seen as teacher or a guide or counselor by people. I get the recognition of being a astrologer. Okay, so that is there. But if first house dasha is on, then you will have the overall rise in the life. Okay, again the relationship matters, don't include it. Don't think that just because you are going through Jupiter exalted in first house dasha, then everything will be fine in your relationship. Nothing like that. Everything can never be fine in life. Okay, that's why we have this life. Okay. uh, if we are living, then there has to be some difficulty. Okay, that is the purpose of living. Jupiter is also sixth lord in this case, so even if you are going through Jupiter exalted dasha, there will be sixth house related issues, disputes, conflicts, and relationship and all. Okay. Rahu Mahadasha and Venus Antardasha for Sagittarius rising. Rahu is in 4th house with Mars, Venus is in 12th house with Saturn. Okay. In money matters, this person needs to be careful. There can be. Okay. So, 1, 2, 3. Okay. After 3 questions, I will stop. Uh, Next questions next week, please. I have call at after half an hour consultation. So Rahu Mahadasha, Venus Antardasha for Sagittarius rising. Rahu is in 4th house with Mars. First of all, it shows a very difficult relationship with mother, or difficult environment at home. That is an indication with Rahu Mars in the 4th house. It can show a very a person who can get aggressive very easily. Okay, Rahu Mars Angarak Yoga. In the matters of real estate, it can be a very good position. At the same time, Saturn Venus conjunction in the 12th house, it shows person has to work really hard in matters of wealth and finance. Okay, this person can earn money and can lose money. So this can be the trouble, because Saturn Venus are in Scorpio. Venus is your money and Saturn is your hard work. So this person is earning money, but if he's not saving it, he's not putting effort to save it, then he will also lose it. Again, Saturn in Scorpio is person should be careful while traveling to foreign lands and all, and about accidents and sudden events and all those things. uh, Basically, money will come in this dasha, but money will also can also be spent away. So this person needs to be very careful about saving the wealth. Venus is also sixth lord, so some it can be spent away in some health issues also, health issues or conflicts, litigation and all. Okay. How is Mars retrograde in 4th house Cancer Ashlesha? This is a difficult position. Mars is debilitated then in Ashlesha. Understand, Ashlesha shows our emotional insecurities. So Mars is our actions. This person will take actions because of his insecurities, not because of he wants to do something or he is motivated to do something. Nothing like that. Just because he is feeling insecure, fearful, his actions will be like impulsive reactions. Okay. That is the result of this Mars in Cancer Ashlesha. This person should have better understanding of how to deal with this energy when he's in 30s, but before that it is difficult. Relationship with mother is difficult. A home environment can be difficult. Okay, this person should not buy property in his own name. Okay. How is Mars retrograde 5th house Ashlesha Nakshatra? Again, 5th house is your love romance matters. So when it comes to love romance matters, they can be very dominating. Okay, they can be very much controlling of their love romance matters. Okay, this this thing at the same time they can be very good in sports, they can be very competitive in sports and all. Okay, that is another thing, but when it comes to relationship matters, it is a difficult position. Again, understand one thing, that it is ruling the first house and the second house and the ninth house, second house of speech, and it is debilitated. This person can speak lies. Okay, this person can also speak aggressively. Ninth house is your morals and values. this person can have like okay, fine, if I do this thing, who will come to know about it? Okay, that type of attitude. He may like compromise on morals and values. Okay. Is marriage possible during Rahu Venus period? Yes, marriage is possible at any time. Okay, marriage. You only need your I'm not telling about you. Generally, we all only need some criterias to be matched, right? For marriage, nothing else. So marriage can be possible in any time. Okay. Okay, fine. Uh, Rahu Venus Dasha, yeah, Venus itself represents relationship and all. It is possible. I am not saying that it is going to happen, because again, your criterias, other person's criterias, difficult to connect. I may like this type of person, may she may be searching for that type of person. Difficult. Okay, so it is possible, a marriage is possible, but will it happen or not depends upon lots of social scenarios, social conditions. Okay. Okay, fine. I think we are. You are looking very charming. Thank you. Okay. Okay, I think I should go. I have call in half an hour time. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Enjoy your Sunday.